All right, we're gonna get started in like 2 minutes. But just drop a one in the chat if you could hear me clearly, right? All right, great. Um, Drop a one in the chat if you could see me. Cool, cool. Yeah, I cut my hair. All right, so for the week so far, the week has been slow, right? So if you feel like you haven't been getting any trades, same here. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday has been very slow days. But today we have some news, right? So we'll get some volume in the market. So hopefully we could actually catch some good moves. And these days I haven't been scalping on the 1 minute as much. Moving to the 1 hour and the higher time frame kind of just increases the win rate. So that's something everybody should consider. Like the 1 hour time frame, the 4 hour time frame, just risking a little more makes a huge difference, right? So we have unemployment at 8:30, and hopefully that gives us a lot of volume for the rest of the day to kind of get our moves going, right? So let's have a look. We'll start from the top. US 30, just so we have an overall understanding of what's going on, right? So here I have, basically the direction of the trend. It's always good to know where the higher time frame trend direction is. So the monthly is down, the weekly is down, the daily is down, the 4 hour is up. So, what we understand from that is simply the 4 hour is basically in a pullback, right? And we want to align ourselves with a higher time frame trend to really catch the big moves. So 8:30 is news. What time is it? 8:27. Let's go into the daily, right? We're on US 30 right now. On the daily time frame, we could see we just pushing. We're about to push past this demand zone. This supply zone. So usually when I'm trading news, the news for me tends to respect the higher time frame, right? So whenever I'm about to execute during news, I would just look at the daily zones or the 4 hour zones to make the trading decisions. So if I had to look at US 30 right now, I would look at, okay, this is the daily demand, right? This is daily supply, but it's about to be broken. So this would be the next daily supply, right? So if we had to make a high quality, high probability decision, most likely it's going to be at these zones. So if, during the volatility, if the market is crazy volatile, I would look to execute at these daily supply and demand zones, right? Let's drop down to the 4 hour. This zone is still valid. If it starts to respect it, then I'll look to sell, right? But if it pushes past the zone, then I'll just wait for the zone above. Now, we're not gonna execute any trades as soon as the news release, right? Usually, once the news is released, you want to wait at least 5, 10, sometimes even 15 minutes or later on during the day to execute, right? Because during the first few minutes is less predictable, but you give it some time to make all these crazy moves and hit all the stops, then you'll get an idea which direction is going, and then you can make a high quality trading decision, right? Because in this markets, it's all about making the highest quality decision possible to minimize the risk, right? Maximize the reward. So I already know, like, once the simplest trading plan that I follow would be just following the trend, right? If the weekly and the daily is trending down, then I sell from 4 hour, 1 hour supply zones. If it's trending up, I buy from 4 hour, 1 hour supply zones, right? I mean demand zones. So we're in a potential reversal zone right now. So we'll have to see what happens. But we already know when news kicks in, it usually likes to take liquidity, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if it pushes past that zone. One hour time frame. 30, let's see. Doesn't seem to have that much of an impact. So right. So we have this 15-minute demand right here, right? If we have this 15-minute demand broken, that's going to confirm the change in the trend direction. Because even though we're still in this supply zone, the order flow for the 4 hour, 1 hour, 15-minute is still bullish. And yeah, we could take the reversal point, right? The high, but based on the statistics, the market reversed 20% of the time and it trends 80% of the time, right? So even though yes, I would catch good moves at the reversal points, um, it's much more beneficial to just enter a trend that's already established, right? So we're at a reversal point right here, um, but really and truly anything could happen. It could reverse or it could break the zone. So what we want to wait for confirmation, right? And once we have confirmation, then we can execute with more, confidence, more risk. So in this scenario right here, I would wait for either the supply to be broken, right, like this, and then we could enter off, the demand responsible for breaking the zone. Or if we want to confirm, the market has reversed, then we wait for basically this 15-minute demand to be taken out, and then we enter off the zone responsible for removing that demand, right? And once the trend is established, there's going to be like a ton of opportunities to enter the market and take advantage of the trend, right? So once if this is the area that the market is going to decide to reverse and continue to trend down, let me just remove this indicator, right? So if this is the area the market is going to decide to remove to to reverse and trend down, then we know we have a long way down to go, right? So during that move down, we'll have multiple opportunities to take advantage and enter, um, to be aligned with the higher time frame trend. And if it decides to break the zone, then we know, okay, we have some space because this is basically fair value, right? So the market is going to easily move from this low to this high. So we'll be able to catch a trade to go up and then, hopefully come back down, right? So these are the scenarios I would look for. Hopefully, the opportunity presents itself and we can execute on it. And even if we don't execute on it during this live session, then it'll probably be sent as a signal, right? Because once I decide to execute, I'll, share the signal, send it out so everybody could benefit from it, right? We have probably like around 9:30 we'll have New York stock market open. And that'll probably give us the volume we need, right, to really make a decision. So I'll set some alerts. And then we could look at some other pairs in the meantime. Right, so your USD. Your USD on the higher time frame, right? Been bullish for the last few days. Was kind of expecting this high to be taken out. So, we're coming towards the end of the week. I would prefer to be long on your USD, right? Um, but this is a potential zone you can have a reaction from. So I'll set an alert right here. And if it gets into that zone and it gives us confirmation, then we could take, I would probably take a counter trend. If it breaks the zone, then I'll enter off the demand, responsible for breaking that zone, right? But I don't expect this zone to hold long term. I mean, I don't really take fundamentals much into consideration. I'm more of a technical trader. But if you've been paying attention, you could see, everybody is basically against the U.S. dollar right now. Just 1 sec, right? Right. So your USD. Let's see if I get confirmation around here. It's, it's a great zone, but fundamentally, I don't think it's gonna go down. Let's see what did this zone accomplish, right? You always want to ask yourself, what did this zone accomplish? It's reacting off this supply zone, came down, took out some demand. It didn't make a new low, right? Usually, if the zone makes a new low, then you could feel a lot more confidence in the trade. But the zone, it didn't make a new low, so there's a good chance. There's a good chance that it could drop, right? So your USD, I'll give it some time. All right. I'm not gonna try to pick the top. I'll just wait and see what happens, right? Somebody said let's have a look at gold. Gold, like I said, usually you want to trade from the 4 hour and the 1 hour zones. Those are the highest quality. All right. So here we had this 4 hour zone. It didn't accomplish much, but it was significant enough to give us a reaction, right? But this move already played out. This was at last night. So I would look at where's the next best place to make a trading decision, right? And then I would just set an alert and wait for the market to get there, not try to actually force a trade. So this is the next 4 hour supply zone that is valid. This is the current unmitigated demand. So I would basically wait, you know, for the market to get to those areas to make a high quality trading decision, right? Because it's really the quality decisions that's gonna determine the outcome. So if you just keep trying to force trades and making poor trading decisions, then all the small losses is gonna accumulate basically. I feel like For US 30, the market is probably just gonna wait until like 9:30, New York Stock Exchange open to make that move, right? And like I said, if we're patient and we wait for confirmation, it's you could execute much more confidently, right? It's better to wait for the perfect setup to execute with confidence, actually take that 0.5% or 1% risk so that it's actually worthwhile. Open the pair. GBP USD. This would be the 4 hour zone right here. This would be the new zone that's created, right? This right here would be a best case scenario, but the market is nowhere near that zone right now. 15 minute. USD CAD. Okay, let's have a look. I think last week I called out a shot on USD CAD, and we basically took it from all the way up here, from this 4 hour zone, all the way down here, right? But let's see what would be the best case scenario for USD CAD right now. So for USD CAD, we could see that, okay, supply basically took control, right, on the daily time frame. So we had this daily demand removed. Once this low is taken out, I would have a look at the origin of the move, right? So this daily supply. We have another look at the 4 hour supply, because this is if you use this cheat code, your trading is going to improve significantly. You look at the daily supply, you look at the 4 hour supply, and you look at the 1 hour supply if the market is in a downtrend, right? And all you got to do is execute when the market is in 4 hour or 1 hour supply zones, right? If it's not in a 4 hour or 1 hour supply zone, then it's going to be easier for your stop loss to get hit. But once your stop loss is above those zones, it's gonna increase, your strike rate, right? But you have to have the patience to wait for it. That's why I would recommend just setting your alerts and executing once the market gets there. All right, so 4 hour, we have this 4 hour zone taken out, so this would be 4 hour supply, right? And whenever you're qualifying your supply and demand zones, you always want to ask yourself, what has the zone accomplished, right? Before, determining the quality, right? So for example, this 4 hour zone right here, when I looked at it, I was like, okay, what has it accomplished, right? It took out this previous demand, then, that would give me more confidence in the trade. You also have this one right here, right? Now we just go down to the 1 hour to for refinement, right? Okay, so we have the 1 hour right here. So if I had to make a trading decision, like if the market comes up to this 1 hour zone that is nested in the 4 hour zone, that is aligned with the daily trend, right? You already have three confluences. You have the 4 hour supply, 1 hour supply, the daily supply is in control, and you have the daily trend is down, right? That's already four reasons, why the trade should go your way. And if you add, 15-minute confirmation, 5 or 1 minute confirmation to that, basically a change of character, a change of the trend on the lower time frame, then that's extra reasons why the trade should work out, right? So in a scenario like that, you know that okay, you have a high quality trade. If it doesn't work out, then it's gonna be a probability loss. A probability loss is where you follow your rules, you follow your plan, and you took a loss anyway, but you still follow the plan, right? Those losses, you can't. They're inevitable, right? They're gonna happen, but it's part of the edge. And if the trade runs, then you can celebrate, right? Because you follow the plan and you still got a winning trade. So the zone is looking even better on the 30-minute, right? 15. Let's see. All of this is called, basically multiple time frame analysis, right? You want to go through. You basically went through all the time frames um, to make this trading decision. All right. So on the 30-minute, the zone looks the best, right? We have a drop, a rally base drop, right? Took out a low, took out a previous opposing demand, right? So for me, I would just set a sell limit here and just execute without even having lower time frame confirmation. That's how much the zone, the quality of the zone is to me, right? But we'll do that. If the market gets there, then we'll do that, and I'll also look on like the 1 minute for confirmation, right? And probably enter on one of the 1 minute areas, right? Because if we just jump on a 1 minute, we might get confirmation and probably have like a much tighter stop loss, right? For a bigger risk to reward. But things that you want to take into consideration if you're on the higher time frame, right? Because executing on the higher time frame and executing on the lower time frame has its pros and cons. On the higher time frame, you're most likely to win. So if I'm executing a trade on the higher time frame, I would risk more. So I would risk 1% or sometimes even 2%, right? Because most likely I'm just gonna take one trade for the day or two trades for the day, and it's gonna be a trade that I took very selectively, right? And then on the lower time frame, um, I would risk less because sometimes you get stopped out a couple times before the trade actually runs. But when it runs, the risk to reward is huge, right? So it usually makes up for it. But depending on how you risk, you could get the same results regardless of what time frame you trade on. It just depends on the win rates and the actual risk involved, right? So we have USD CAD right here. Looks good. I have an alert set, so once it gets there, you know, we'll execute. I'm probably just gonna put a sell limit right now. Actually, let's see, use the card, 30 minute. Right, so I've placed a sell limit on USD card, right? Right. So I've placed my sell limit on USD card, so hopefully it plays out. The reward, um, let's see, because if it's trending down, it's really up to you. You know what you're satisfied with. But the daily trend is down, so it can literally go, as far as it wants to go until it gives us our reversal signal, right? So, but if your trading plan is to take 1 to 3, then take 1 to 3. So we have that alert set. YouTube, the stream is delayed, right? So you might want to take that into consideration because sometimes the alert might go off. I might execute the trade, but you'll see it maybe 10 or 30 seconds after. So set your own alerts. So just keep an eye on it so that you're able to not miss the trade, right? USD JPY. So USD JPY is also in decisional zone, right? Because we have this 4 hour supply. The market is currently battling. Go down to the 1 hour. We have the 1 hour nested zone. Minute. Oh, yeah, this is 1 hour, right? I already took a sell on this earlier, but I took profits. I guess my last position was at break even. Um, we reacted to this demand on the 15 minute. which was a pretty good zone. But right now it's like on USD JPY, the market is deciding, whether or not it wants to break the 4 hour zone or reverse, right? So if we was to sell at the top here, then we would be picking the top, right? And when, when you pick the top, the win rate might go down a bit because, like I said before, the market reverses 20% of the time, but it continues 80% of the time, right? So, based on statistics, it would continue 80% of the time to just continue high, right? So we'll see. If I had to, execute a buy on this, I would wait for the higher time frame zone to be broken, and then I would execute the buy. So this is not a trade that was set, right? If you're just joining the session, we're currently waiting for USD CAD. What time is it? 9 o'clock. This is the highest quality zone we found so far, right? Now, even if the live session ends, you could still execute on this trade. I actually have a sell limit at this zone so that when the market gets there, the trade is automatically executed. But if the market gets there during the live session, then we'll obviously, drop down to the lower time frame, drop down to the 1 minute, and find a very much more refined entry, right? And if you want, usually for every trade that I execute, I would put it out there, right? So I would either put it in a Signal chat, I would put it on Instagram, right? So if you want to stay up to date on, the trades that was sent or being executed, then you could just follow my Instagram, right? Or you could follow the Discord, or you could follow, you know, just stay in contact so you'll be able to see. I think your USD just went off. Your USD sell zone. If this zone was with the trend, the daily trend, I would have executed it, right? But this zone is going against the daily trend. So it's a very, very nice zone. The zone looks very good, but it's not with the higher time frame trend. So that's why I'm being more cautious with it. Being a little bit more cautious with it just to see, what happens, right? Like, even though it's a good zone, it's a good rally, it's a good drop, because it's not with the trend, I need a little more convincing. So I would wait for either a lower time frame trend to be established, right, before executing on this trade, right? So let me set an alert. If it starts to pull back, once the market is trending, there's going to be a ton of opportunities to enter. Um, so US 30. this could happen. Patience, guys, patience, right? Trust me, because when we do execute, it's gonna be worth it, right? Whatever trade that I send out, I'll be willing to risk 1 or 2% on it, right? Because I'm only gonna send a trade I'm very confident in. USD CAD. All right, drop a one, drop a one in the chat if you have a USD CAD sell limit set up. Okay, US30. All right, now it's 9 o'clock. Right, so we have US30 just tapping off of this 1 hour supply, right? This area right here is the 1 hour supply. Now US30 is still bullish, right? It's still trending bullish. Um, which means it could still trend bullish, right? Now, once it takes out this 15-minute demand, then that's going to give us confidence that, okay, it's going to continue to trend downwards, right? On its way down, because most likely this is a daily supply zone. So once the daily supply zone takes control, we can expect the market to go towards the next daily demand zone, right? So if we look on US30 and we say, okay, US30 is currently at, daily supply, where is the next daily demand zone, right? The next daily demand zone is basically 2 days from, the historical price away, right? So the next daily demand zone is all the way down here. So if this daily supply decides that, it's going to take control and it's going to change the lower time frame trend, then we could expect the market to trend down to at least the next daily demand, right? So, having that information, once we know that the trend is established, then we'll have multiple opportunities to get in, right? Multiple opportunities on the lower time frame, 15, 5, maybe 1 hour, maybe even a 1 minute, to get a position towards this demand zone right here. And if the market decides, okay, it's going to continue down with a higher time frame trend, then um, then we'll be able to take advantage of that, right? Most likely 9:30 is about to come up, so then we'll probably get the volume we need to make this decision, right? I'm more leaning towards the. I'm not even sure which side I'm leaning towards, right? Because we could still continue up even though we're in this reversal zone. And here's the thing, right? If the market decides it's gonna take out this daily supply right here, then we know the next zone is here, right? So if we push past this zone, then we'll try to get a position to towards this next daily supply, right? So we're waiting for either one of these scenarios, and we'll see, right? USD, yeah, USD JPY looks like it's gonna push past. If there's a pair that you see a potential setup on and you want to send it, you can send it through. I'll have a look and tell you where I would execute if I had to execute the trade, right? Dollar is bearish. Could understand why, right? So if the dollar is bearish, then your USD should be bullish. USD CAD should be bearish. Euro sells something up. Okay, let's see. Alright, so let's have this zone right here. This would be confirmation, right? Even though it's bullish, we could probably get something counter trend, right? For just a short term trade. I'll try to send the trade in advance because YouTube has a small delay in the live session, right? And most of the time I usually enter the trade with buy or sell limits. So you'll probably get a buy or sell limit at the desired price, right? So what I want to see for confirmation, basically this 1 minute demand gets taken out, then we have a retracement back to the zone responsible, which would be this zone, or once it's taken out, the market basically creates a new supply and respects it, right? We'll see if we get confirmation. On the inside, I believe your USD is bullish, right? So what I'm expecting to happen is the market to break higher, and then we look for buys, right? But if it breaks lower and it gives us confirmation for sells, then we'll take it. We'll have to wait and see, right? I have it, drawn out, so at least you could see for yourself what I'm expecting, just in case the market does it and the live stream is not um, is not running with the same time as the market. So just for anyone that just got on, we're waiting for USD CAD sell limit at the 1 hour and 4 hour supply zone that's aligned with daily trend, potential reversal on your USD or continuation, right? And for US 30, basically the same thing. It's kind of interesting how your USD and US 30 is at pinnacle zones at this point in time. Right? We'll see what happens. Last 3 hours, the market just been consolidating. Like I said, it's probably waiting for the stock exchange open to make a decision, right? But overall, it's kind of been a slow week, right? So that's all that here. Right now, we're just playing the waiting game, to be honest. Is the JPY. Interesting. Just scrolling through some pairs while we wait on our setups, right? What time is it? 9:22. You just have like 8 more minutes until the 9:30 open, right? All right, something you want to consider, right? When you're looking at, potential breaks of structure, you want to see the market like fully break the structure, right? So, for example, let's say this is the high. This would be a great break of structure, right? The market breaks and it continues to extend above. Let's say this is the high. The market pulls back. If the structure is broken just a little bit, then I wouldn't consider it high quality, right? So let's say I was to consider a potential buy in this area. I would like to see, the structure broken significantly, right? Before returning, so that I could execute the buy, right? A lot of the times, you have to really take into consideration the quality of the move, right? Because that's what determines, how well the trade is gonna perform. And you wanna like use alerts, right? Because alerts is gonna prevent you from trying to jump in every second. You wanna set alerts at the areas you would like to make a decision whether or not you want to enter the trade, so that you don't force the trade, right? Because before you make that decision, obviously you need more data, in order to make the best decision possible, right? So that's why we have the alert set up um, to alert us, to what's going on, right? So we have an alert at the removal of the Euro USD daily supply, and then we have an alert if the trade was to reverse. And really and truly, to make it a great day, you only need one good trade, right? We get one good trade, then we're gonna be solid for the day. Usually, right, from my experience, around 11 o'clock, um, the market really starts deciding, which direction it's going to trend in and actually starts trending. We have 2 more minutes. For years 30, let me try to guess what's going to happen, right? At 9:30. Um, Before I do that, let me see what happened in the last 9:30. 9:30 yesterday. Okay. So yesterday, right, around 9:30, we had a pullback until 11, and then the market started trending. Just like I said, right, the market likes to trend at 11. So so if we had to expect the market to do the same thing it did yesterday, right? 9:30 pulled back into a 1 hour zone and it rallied, right? A 1 hour rally. So this is the 1 hour zone. This is the next 1 hour zone. So this would be the nearest 1 hour zone right here, right? What can you send your? I think you could either how can I send my chart through? You could probably drop the link in the YouTube chat. If you can't drop the link in the YouTube chat, drop it in the Discord or send it to me on Instagram and I'll have a look at it, right? But like I said, I'm expecting the market to react from this zone. Well, this is what I'm gonna guess for 9:30, right? Because 9:30 is also kind of unpredictable. Um, for the market to react to this zone and then go higher, right? So I'm gonna place a small trade there Um, Not, the typical risk that I do. Probably like uh, 0.5% or quarter, just to see, you know, because most people is probably expecting it to drop, and if it breaks this zone, then we look for reversals, right? Right. So I placed a small buy limit here. Nothing significant, just to see what happens, right? But once we get either confirmation of the market breaking higher or the market breaking lower, then we could make a significant trading decision, right? But usually I wouldn't recommend trading around this time. It's kind of risky to trade around 9:30, right? So market 9:30 is like a lot of stops. A lot of stops get hit, um, and then around 10 or 11 is when it actually starts trading, right? So let's see what's activated. 1 to 1. I'll probably break even just because this is not high probability, right? Check on your USD. So when it gets up here, I'll probably go break even, right? Either close half or move my stops to break even. I risk like 0.5%, um, which isn't much, you know. But if it runs, then the reward is gonna be great, right? But if it stopped, then it was a very small trade. So oh wow, the buy limit that I put wasn't even executed. The market pushed past the zone, and it didn't even execute the buy limit. That's crazy. I'll just cancel it. I closed out my buy limit because it wasn't executed. But like I was saying before, we're gonna know for sure which direction USDT is gonna go once we have this 15-minute level removed or we have this high taken, right? We could execute trades in the middle, but the probability is just gonna be much lower, right? So it may not be worth the risk. But once we have a clear understanding of where it's gonna go, then we could actually put some risk behind our trades, right? Euro USD. Like I said, Euro USD is likely to continue higher. And once we have that break above supply, then we could execute with confidence, right? We have our alerts set, so we'll know what happens. Patience, man. All right, let me have a look at your chat over here. All right, Olivia. I guess this is the Lux algo indicator, right? Mm, not sure what time frame it is on. What's that? GBP AUD. It looks good. Let me have a look at it on my chart. GBP AUD. 5 minute, right? Set 5 minutes. So let's say we was to analyze GBP AUD in the 5 minute. First, I want to know which zone is in control, right? So we have this one over demand right here. We have this supply, right? This supply took out this demand, right? But this demand is still in control. In a scenario like this, you wanna look at where's the trend coming from and where is it going, right? Currently the trend is still bullish, right? um And in order for to convince me to change the direction, we need to have like a significant trend change. So this was the last real impulse, right? From this zone to this zone. So since then, it's been consolidating. So before, I could consider, before I could consider um, taking cells, I would need to see this zone removed, right? Um, in the meantime, the trend order flow is bullish. So yes, we can have a reaction from this zone, right? But it would be counter trend, right? For me, every trader is different, but how I would approach it is I would wait to see this zone be taken out, and then I would enter off of the zone, responsible for removing that zone, right? And you always want to do like, you always want to take it from a higher time frame down to a lower time frame. So you can already see on the 5 minute itself, the 5 minute is bullish, right? Because we had this change of character right here. So if we was to be entering off of supply and demand zones on the 5 minute time frame, we look, okay, this zone was taken out. Who took out that zone? Right? This zone. This zone took out that zone, but this one is the origin, right? So either one could work out, but obviously the one that is lower has has more weight. So if we came into that 5 minute zone, we could probably execute on 1 minute confirmation or 1 minute um, nested zone 15. So here we have a 5 minute, right? I mean 15-minute zone inside of a 1 hour zone, right? And then we also have a 5 minute zone. So you have 1 hour, 5 minute, 15 minute in the direction of the higher time frame trend, right? You know, that's several reasons to execute, right? So if I had to make a trading decision on GBP 80, I would look to execute in this area. Right. And just try, because you always want to try to get in with the higher time frame trend. You always want to get in the direction of the higher time frame trend, because that's gonna basically increase your win rate, and two, give you a greater potential reward. But that's just my perspective. Everybody have a different strategy, a different view of the market. So as long as you make money, then that's what matters, right? As long as you're able to make money, it doesn't matter what strategy you use. so we have this 15-minute removed. We have 13-minute removed. Demand and reference, all right? So, we have a potential reversal, right? But regardless of that, if the market decides to trend down, it's going to trend down, right? And on its way down, we could, look for entries. Most likely, we're not going to get an entry on this session. However, if you just pay attention on, the Discord or Instagram, whenever I execute a trade, I'll send out the entry, right? Even though it's falling right now, you don't want to FOMO into the trade. You don't want to think of the market as abundant, right? There's going to be opportunities every day. So don't rush into a big red candle going down, right? It's going to pull back at some point. And if the trend is established, then you could execute with confidence, right? But, just for reference, um, if I had to get into this trade, we have the 15-minute zone removed. We ask ourselves, who's responsible, right? Because I like to ask myself, who's responsible? Which supply zone is responsible for removing that demand zone? Which zone is responsible for changing the trend, right? So we have this new zone being created right here. If it pulls back, let's say that would be, a high quality zone to sell from, right? However, it should be a high quality zone to sell from, right? However, if you want, double confirmation, right? If you want double, confidence in the trade, then wait for the market to hit the zone, react, remove an opposing zone, or remove an opposing demand, and then enter on the second zone, right? Because the first zone is to determine whether or not the supply is going to hold, right? And the second zone, you already know supply is in control because it removed demand, right? It came back, it reacted, it made another low, right? So then, the second zone you could obviously execute with a ton of confidence, right? So that's what I would do um, in that scenario, right? But anyways, I'm gonna hop off now. Thanks everyone for hopping onto the live session, right? If you enjoyed it, even though we didn't catch any trades, we'll probably catch trades next time, right? It's better to be at break even than to be at a loss. You have your capital to fight the battle for the next day. And I hope I see you on another live session, right? Have a good day. Stay safe. Don't overtrade. Follow your rules, right? And I wish you the best. Where am I? I'm in Miami. I'm in Miami right now. I actually have to wait until the straight in actually catches up with what I said before I can end it. Right?